Hey, good morning, Jeff Young. How are you today?
Good morning. Namaste, Debbie. How are you today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. And happy World Kindness Day to you on this Friday the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th has always been a lucky day for me for some reason. So now that it's World Kindness Day, I've also got two reasons to think it's a great day.
Absolutely. And I've really wanted to do this recording with you for a while because we're both wild advocates about LinkedIn. And it's just always fun to, have a conversation with other people that are as deeply involved with the site as we are. So thank you for making the time today. This is going to be fun.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Absolutely. So, what do you want to talk about? Because we agreed this was just going to be a casual
That's
conversation.
true. Well, we decided that in previous conversations that maybe one of the best things you can do on LinkedIn is engagement. So we ought to talk about how you engage and how you get involved and how much time you might want to spend on LinkedIn. Ooh, there's an interesting one.
Oh, we could talk an hour on that one.
Yeah, this is true.
I think that's
But
great because I think there are way too many members that they're either not quite sure how to go about the process or what they should do after they connect with people. I think you and I agreed before in other conversations that we're just really professional all the way through. And the first thing that we do when we connect with anyone is to send them a thank you note to acknowledge, the appreciation for the connection.
yep, I highly recommend that because the connection is not the end of the process; it's the beginning of the process. And in terms of the way you connect, everybody has a different style. My style is that if I'm going to connect with someone, I like it when they send me or I send them an actual invitation with a message on it. And then that starts the conversation. And then the message of the thank you, well, in BC, that's of course before COVID, way back in that time frame. Um, it used to be that I would send a message to someone that I connected with locally that says, "Hey, let's sit down and have a cup of coffee."
Hmm.
Well, that doesn't happen anymore. So now instead, I just say, "Let's sit down and have a Zoom session or something that will continue the conversation." And yeah, interestingly enough, after disruption, okay, the um, the process has changed for me because I'm getting a lot more international, worldwide connections that I end up having to Zoom with anyway. So,
Hmm. Hmm. And I'll
and it
tell you,
works well.
I want to touch on something really quickly because even now, after doing this for years, and I'm sure you run into this all the time, people get a little confused about how to personalize an invitation using the phone, and it just drives me a little bit wild that LinkedIn can't seem to get it consistent between the desktop app and the mobile app. And I just explained yesterday to somebody that was quite frustrated and she said, I'm hitting connect and it's not giving me a chance. It's already gone and invitation sent. And on the iPhone, and I'm pretty sure it's the same on Android. Jeff,
It
what,
is.
what do you use? Do you use that
I
iPhone?
use an Android smartphone. Yeah.
Okay, so
I,
it's
Actually, I don't really use an Android. I usually don't use a phone very much at all to do LinkedIn, but that's one of the reasons. Okay. I mean, unless you know exactly where to, it's kind of under the magic three dots, or depending on your operating system, the more button or something along those lines. Unless you know exactly how to click more, there will be no option of personalized invitation on the phone or tablet for that matter.
and now that's true. It's a little different on the iPad too. But what I just noticed recently is that first of all, you have to be on the full profile on mobile because they'll give you
Right.
like a preview and at the bottom you click full profile. But now instead of more, I'm just seeing the three little dots in the upper right corner. And you have to tap on those dots to get the personalized invitation options.
Yep.
So I just wanted to mention that quickly because there's a lot of confusion on it. And people want to personalize, and they're using the mobile
Sure.
app a lot. So there you
Oh yeah,
have
I
it.
know I know I'm in the minority. I mean, there's only about 40% of us that use desktop as a primary vehicle to
Mhm.
do this kind of thing.
I'm one of
But
them.
so that's six, so well, and that's another reason why you're right. It's very frustrating that LinkedIn won't change it because I mean they don't even make you do it on the desktop. At least if you click a connect button, it brings up something else that says, "Would you like to add a note?"
Right.
That doesn't happen on connecting on the phone or iPad or tablet.
Yep.
And so, I usually, it frustrates me a little to get to receive an invitation from someone who doesn't include a message. But I also realize that this has been this way for a long period of time. So I give them the benefit of the doubt. I
Hmm.
usually don't, say, oh, just ignore when somebody doesn't send a message. I'll look at their profile. And if there is any kind of a possible conversation with this person, I will send them a message back.
Sure.
Now, again, that's kind of hidden as well.
Right.
Uh, and I'm not
Right.
even sure how to do that on the phone, to tell you the truth. I have not looked at that in so long. I'm not sure how to send a message back that says, what would you like to, connect about? What was it that you were interested in? But I do know where to find it on the desktop.
Right.
It's under the My Network and look at all of the but I don't know. I'd have to look at it on the phone to see if it's possible. But I mean, and there's some people's styles that just says, well, I'm so happy that somebody asked me to connect. I just say yes.
You know
Well,
what?
okay.
I
I mean, that's okay, but you're taking a risk doing that. You need to understand that.
Right. And I favor actually our whole team does it the same way, that we always go to the profile first to kind of vet the person a little bit, because
Certainly.
they're I don't think it's the best practice to accept every invitation to connect. By the way, I just checked an invitation. I have a couple on my phone. Um, and if anybody's listening to this and they know how to do that, if you can, and maybe that's a case where you can't
Put
do
it in
it
the
on
comments.
mobile, because I'm tapping the three dots on the invitation, and the only choice it's giving me is report as inappropriate. So
Yeah.
again, there are, I know I have gray hair, but I like the desktop application too, but I really favor it because to me, it's 100% functionality,
It's right.
and if you're gonna
Right.
do it right. And honestly, I wrote these down now. I picked up B, C, and AD. um, you know, During this process we're in right now, I'm not out standing in line at the post office or the grocery store. I'm in and out of those two places really fast. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm not anywhere else where I would be likely to jump on my mobile app like I do it all the time pre-COVID,
Of
wherever I
course.
was,
Yeah.
restaurants or whatever. And so consequently, my screen time on my phone has gone down drastically, and I'm here all
Yeah.
the time. And then I have my phone next to me, and I have my iPad nearby for the people that
Exactly.
call.
They're sitting right here.
You got all our
Yeah.
technology right here. So
Yeah.
work from home.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I get it. I mean, I'm out and about occasionally as well, and in previous times, this thing ought to be Vulcan mind melded to my head. Okay, as you can see, it's even a Vulcan on my phone. So
You
I'm a bit of a Star Trek geek. So,
you are
but
well branded, my friend.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I've always found that I am so much more effective on the desktop. And that's one of the things. I mean, okay, here's a point. One of the things that we're talking about is engagement here. So one of the best ways to do engagement is to create content.
Hmm.
And one of the forms of content is an article.
Right.
You go right ahead and try to write an article on a phone. I mean, why would you ever want to?
But there
Okay?
are people that do, and they get
Well,
the emoticons in there, or emojis and all that. Mixed feelings. I like
well,
to use them sparingly, but I can only do it on the phone. I guess there's
no, no,
probably
no,
an
no.
app. You
It's
can do
fine
it.
for content. It's fine for
Yeah.
posts on the
Mm.
phone, but it is physically impossible to write an article on the phone.
Ah,
A different kind of content. Okay, so
okay.
that's just one of the things that, and it makes sense. Who would want to sit here and do this all day long? Okay, and I'm sorry, I've got gray hair too, and honestly, I never ever learned how to do this. This is how I type on a phone. I'm sorry, it's just one of the things that I just never learned.
It's
Uh,
it's the
you
fat
know,
thumbs thing.
yeah, I can tap with the best of them, but I can't thumb type. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. And you have excellent content. Anybody that follows you, that's connected to you, there's certain people, and I know you and I are connected to dozens of LinkedIn experts, and you're the only guru, but there's lots of experts around. Um, and I love it because, in the beginning, when my business is going into its 10th year. And in the beginning, people would say, well, why would you want to connect with other LinkedIn experts? I'd be
Uh,
like, are you kidding? Because I have a lot to learn. And there's millions of people out there. So I don't think it's a threat to my business. Someone's going to
no,
steal a contact or a prospect. So, over the years, I've learned and the other old adage is, you surround yourself with people that are far smarter than you.
bingo.
and,
Yep.
and, and that's really important to embrace and accept. Um, I still know people that can't seem to do that. But anyway, it's
Well,
beside the point. But I love the interaction between other LinkedIn experts because everyone has a viewpoint. Oftentimes it's a little different. Um, uh, and you can learn from everybody. You can learn
oh
from
yeah.
everybody.
Well,
And doesn't matter how many times you hear something, somebody might have a different way to express
those people are the people who gave me the moniker in the first place. I didn't
it.
call myself the LinkedIn guru. They called me the LinkedIn guru. Okay. And,
Hashtag.
well, yeah, exactly. Hashtag the LinkedIn guru. Okay. Make sure it's the LinkedIn guru. Okay. Because the LinkedIn guru was taken. So I had to use the LinkedIn guru. But my whole point is that if you look guru up in the dictionary, it says teacher. Okay.
Hmm.
And so that's what I've been for the majority of my life as a teacher. And right now I'm teaching LinkedIn. Okay. But as a teacher, well, okay. And by the way, the guy in blue behind me, sometimes I introduce myself by saying, "Hi, I'm a teacher. What's your superpower?" Okay. So that's why, I really believe teachers are superheroes. Okay.
Yeah,
And
they
but
are.
as a teacher, I have also been, and yeah, I think you and I have had a separate conversation about this one as well. We're also lifelong learners.
Hmm.
Okay. So learning something new is something I get to do every single day on LinkedIn because of those people that I'm connected with.
Very
I learn
true.
so much, and there are particular people out there that are so much better at certain aspects of this than me. Okay, because I mean, if you wanted to know something about Sales Navigator, I'm not your guy. Okay, because I haven't the foggiest idea. I'm not in sales. I don't do sales. I will point you to someone else.
Sure.
Okay, but the point about LinkedIn and the engagement of that is you learn more about when you get to engage with somebody and you learn more about someone, you realize that you're not the person who can help them as well as that other person.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm constantly pointing other people to other people because they know more about that particular area of LinkedIn than I do. There is nobody that can know everything about LinkedIn. I'm
No.
sorry, it's just not possible.
And you just touched on a really important thing, and that's about introducing. I make introductions almost every day when people need something and I don't have it. And it's not just about LinkedIn. I keep an ear out all the time. I know you do the same thing, and
Absolutely.
it's fairly quick and fairly easy. Sometimes when I'm trying to make referrals for my clients, frankly, I sometimes make the mistake of trying to get too wordy with the introduction instead of just make the introduction and let them do it.
Yep,
But I think that's another really great way to engage and give, and it's endless what you can get back from that. Um,
absolutely.
I did want to mention. Shoot, I was just thinking of it and it went right out my brain. Um,
Well, what really is exactly what I always use LinkedIn for because it's a networking tool.
mhm.
And yeah, that's online, but you can take it offline as quickly as you want. I mean, you and I actually had a phone call the other day.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Wow, how unique is that,
My
right?
phone
And
rang.
we didn't even do Zoom, But here's the best way that I feel that you could ever use LinkedIn. Find someone who's got a need, find someone who can fulfill that need, and put those two people together. Okay,
Sure. Absolutely.
that is engaging. That is a way to engage, and that has nothing to do with content. That just has to do with you've got a relationship with somebody that you know well enough that you think they could help this other person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you do a ton of workshops and presentations and so forth. I'm curious, and I don't think it makes any difference where people are. I'm in South Florida, you're in Ohio. What do you run across as, if someone asks you about the homepage, do you come across a common question that people ask about posting?
Yeah, they first of all they don't know what to post.
Hmm.
I mean, here's a statistic for you. They don't call me the guru because I don't know anything about LinkedIn. Here's a statistic for you. There are 722 million of your closest friends on LinkedIn. Okay.
Right.
I think the latest number that just came out was 722 million. Okay.
Hmm.
Of those 722 million people, only 3 million of them actually post something on a weekly basis.
Wow. Is it that low?
It is that low. So that's less than 0.5% of people that actually even contribute content. So the homepage is a great place to go find content. The
Mhm.
cool part about the homepage, I was just thinking about this a little bit earlier. The cool part about the homepage is that it is your network. I see stuff that is from people I'm not connected to because people I am connected to made a comment on it or liked it or something along those lines. That's what causes it to show up in your homepage. Okay.
Right, right.
And so the homepage is someplace that you should spend a little bit of time on every single day. But, okay, he said, beware, be careful. There's this thing called the internet black hole that you will fall down into, and you will spend all day looking at stuff on your homepage.
And
And
I'm
that
a
doesn't
little
get,
more, I'm a little more direct. I call it a social media time suck because that's what
there
it
it
is.
is.
You know,
Yep.
and if you're not careful, yeah, LinkedIn is just as liable on that. And yeah, I teach people to scroll. I always say, don't read your homepage because you're going to start spending hours on LinkedIn.
Scan.
You
Yeah, scroll and
scan
scan.
it, yeah, scan it and look for value, look for something that resonates. And it's just so easy to create activity
Exactly.
just by clicking like. You're going to get more mileage. We always encourage people to, if it really resonates, comment and share it and tell your network why you're sharing it. Don't just hit the share button.
Works great because you and I just found this morning, within just a few seconds, a post from someone that we know in Canada, okay, that actually put something out that was a post about world. Yeah, there it is. Oh, yes. Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Yay,
I'm
Shelley
sorry. I'm out of
Elslinger.
uniform. Here we go. Yep. There it is. Let's give credit where credit is. Decide to be kind. Okay. Exactly.
I'm going to have to
Okay.
shout out in the, because I'm going to get this captioned and I know I'm going to have to
Okay.
spell her name. So I will do that. Shelley Elslinger in
That's
Canada.
it.
Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt. Go ahead.
No problem. And you and I both found that because we went to the homepage and she put that post out there. So she's in our network. So we got to see that post and we got to interact with that post immediately
Hmm.
and in just a few seconds. Okay. Now, immediately after that, I got off my homepage and went someplace else. Okay. Because again, that can be a black hole.
Right.
But it's also, here's the other thing about the homepage. Okay. I hear so many people say, all I ever see is spam and salesy stuff on my
Mm.
homepage. Okay. Here's why. Because you're connected to people who do spam and salesy stuff. Okay.
Mm.
So maybe you might want to consider not following them, or or maybe even disconnecting with them if the stuff they do is not what you're really interested in. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, okay, here's the cool part. I describe the homepage sometimes as Pandora for professionals. Now, everybody knows what Pandora is. That's an app that gives you music and you give it thumbs up and thumbs down, okay,
Hmm.
etc. Well, that's exactly what happens on your homepage feed. The more you like and the more you comment on stuff that you're interested in, the more that LinkedIn gives you of that stuff.
Right.
So the lesson learned here is, for heaven's sakes, do not comment on spam.
Right.
Because if you
Right.
comment on spam, LinkedIn
Goes
says,
out.
oh, you commented on this. Oh, you want more of this stuff? Here's some more spam for you. Have some more. No, thank you. I mean, I don't even like it in the can. Okay.
And,
I'm
and
a Monty
you,
Python fan.
and
Okay. I
oh
won't
my
go with
gosh.
that kind of spam either. No,
We,
thank you
we
very
could get
much.
off on all kinds of tangents here.
Yeah, well, I usually do. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But I wanted to mention too that and people think automatically, instantly, that they should react to the not so great posts out there. But in addition to telling LinkedIn a bit more about what you like, which you really don't, you just emphasize that post because it went out to your whole network. It's important because you and I each have thousands. You have a ton. You have 3 times the number of connections I do around the world. But everything goes out to the homepage of all those first level connections that you react on. So even though not everyone's going to see what you do for reactions and comments and shares and all that, it instantly goes into that algorithm. and now you've just spread a bad message even further. So
Yep. Yep.
it's hard, but I don't want to lose the thought on this. There's a lot of ways to control what, or try to control what shows up on your home page.
Yes.
So granted, we all connect with people well-meaning, and they look like good connections and all that, and then we find out they're going to throw spam at us or whatever. When you connect with one, you're bringing thousands more into your network because of the way LinkedIn is built. But those three magic dots, and I'm going to start calling it that and crediting you with that.
Yes.
Those three magic dots, they really serve a purpose, and there's a lot that you can do. I hesitate now. I really think about dropping somebody altogether, because if I drop them, if I disconnect, I'm taking their network out of mine. And I want to be careful of that. So I do use the unfollow.
Exactly.
There's a way to just
Yeah.
stop the spam, but keep them in
That's
your
a
network.
that's a kinder, gentler, oh, I don't want to see your stuff anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's probably appropriate for World Kindness Day. Um, but
Yes.
yeah, again, I call them the magic three dots. The magic three dots will allow you to report them. The magic three dots will allow you to unfollow them. The magic three dots will actually allow you to identify this to LinkedIn as spam or even a fake account. All of those kind of things are there. And you know what? There are so many people on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn only has a certain number of employees. And if you think they actually devote their employees' time to going out there and searching and watching for spam, nah, they've got better things to do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a self-policing thing. It's our responsibility to identify those kind of things.
Right.
And I think you should. And again, you mentioned the infamous algorithm, okay? A lot of times I introduce people to my uncle, okay, on LinkedIn. I say, I've got an uncle on LinkedIn. He's called Uncle Al. Uncle Al, and his last name is Gorithm, okay? And my point being is that Uncle Al can be your pal, okay? You have to be from Ohio to get that
Oh
reference.
my gosh.
Yeah. Okay, but Uncle Al could be your pal, but Uncle Al sometimes can give you some stuff that you're not interested in as well. So you need to train Uncle Al. Okay.
All right. So I've just decided that not only are you the king of gifts, as in GIFS, you're also the king of short sayings that mean a lot.
Well, I don't know. I think, I'm not going to say his name, but there's a gentleman that, when I talked about, actually, I got to give proper credit for this because I would never plagiarize him. But when I talked about BC before Corona and AD after disruption, that was his phrasing. So he's got a phrase for everything. So I give him credit for that one. I just reused it and made note of it. Okay. And as you said, I put it up. Well, it's a compliment. I'm really trying to compliment him because I put it in my act.
Yep, there you go. That's a good thing to do. Which brings up another point worth mentioning, which is mentioning. And in your post, you have the ability to put that @ before anyone's name, whether you're connected to them or not, and it turns it bold and it makes an instant link to their profile. So it's a great way to do a shout out or congratulations or whatever. A lot of people use that feature for calling attention to a post, for whatever reason. And I think mentioning is really great as long as it's done right. In my
Yep.
opinion, there's a lot of people that are just going a little bit overboard with using
Yep.
that option. And then it almost becomes spammy, and I get some notifications, so and so just mentioned you, and all I have to do is look at the beginning of the post, and I can tell if they're just after my network and they want me to pay attention to get it out to my network,
Yep.
or if it's really something of interest to me. And I've really started to kind of key into those before I even say anything or react on them.
Yeah. I very rarely will mention more than a few people on a post, depending on, usually if I'm going to say thank you to someone, I really want to mention them because I want them to see I said thanks. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost always mention the author of a comment so that when it goes back, my comment goes back to them, they get the notification that I commented back because
Right.
that's the essence of conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are people out there, okay, and again, they don't really mean to. It's just, I think it's a matter of etiquette and it's a matter of style, okay.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, here's what happens when I look at those kinds of things. If I am mentioned as one person among 25 people, I don't feel so special anymore. Okay, so that's a practice. I'm sorry, I got a phrase for this one. Okay, I beg your pardon, but I call it mention stuffing. Okay,
Oh, interesting. There we
because you're
go
just
again. I'm
stuffing
gonna write that one
you're
down.
just stuffing names in there so that you get more people to look at your post. Your
Yeah,
post should stand on its own.
on
Your
its
post
own.
should stand on the value that it provides. Your post should stand on the content itself, not about, okay? And again, I will mention maybe one or two people back and forth in the conversation because LinkedIn is not, well, look, LinkedIn is a software program.
Hmm.
So it's not exactly always doing the thing that you might want it to do. So I try to make sure that it does, because if I don't mention somebody, they may or may not be notified about that comment.
Right.
So I try to make sure that I do the app mention so that people will actually get the phrase back that I said, the comment back that I said.
Hmm.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Okay.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. There's so many different ways you can engage with people, and that's what this is all about. It's a relationship building site. And when people find their targets and they get connected with them, and then they kind of sit back and ghost them. That's
Yeah.
the worst
Yeah.
thing to do.
I know.
And granted, I'll be the first to admit that with the number of invitations, and I extend 5 every day. Every day. I've been doing it for years. That's my mantra. Um, because of the way it brings in more and more people into the network, and you can do more engaging. You can be found more often in searches and all that. But I do feel that I just lost my whole train of thought.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me bring that back. Oh, I know what it was. It's Friday, you know?
Yes. Yes.
um, I think it's also another option worth mentioning is recommendations. Acknowledging people. They do give a cutesy way of I can't remember what it's called, but you can congratulate
Kudos.
somebody and kudos or whatever.
Kudos.
I
Yeah. I think
I
it's
like to do the recommendations, and our favorite strategy, and it's essential. I think it's really essential for job seekers, and there's so many of them out there right now.
yep.
If you don't have any, that's not a good thing. And if you do have them and they're 2 or 3 years old, you might want to think about getting some more current recommendations on your
Yep.
profile. But
That's
our favorite strategy is give to receive. And that always leads us into showing people how to export their connections into the Excel file. And no, it's not nirvana. They don't include the email anymore, but for good reason. Too much
yeah.
spamming, they got to try to control it somewhere.
Right.
But you strategically choose a few people that you're connected to that can give you a really nice recommendation, and you actually take the initiative, give them one first. And I'll tell you that is absolutely, even though it's totally appropriate on LinkedIn to just ask for a recommendation, request
Yep.
recommendation,
Yep.
we really favor the give to receive strategy, because first of all, it's a really nice thing to do.
Yep.
I know how I feel when I get an unsolicited recommendation. It always puts a smile on my face. It's a really kind thing. And of course, you're going to reciprocate. And LinkedIn actually prompts you to do that at the end of the process. So what could be easier? You're doing
Absolutely.
something nice for somebody you're connected to,
Yeah. Yep.
and
Absolutely.
you're very likely to get that return reciprocation.
I,
And
to- I totally agree. Here's another phrase for you, because I learned this from a gentleman that is a local contact of mine. So I didn't do this in a presentation, but I would tell you that the N in networking stands for never stop giving. Okay. And so I think that's the way you should start networking, is go at it from that perspective. And here's my philosophy as far as LinkedIn recommendations are concerned. I try to keep the ratio of recommendations that I've given to recommendations that I get at 2 to 1.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
I would
nice.
give twice as many as I get back, it's wonderful to get those back. Okay, some people do reciprocate, but give it without the necessity of
Hmm.
reciprocation. Just give it because you really feel what you're saying as far as the recommendation is concerned. And I know, that it's not one of those things that is going to be in the 7 to 10 seconds that people get to see your profile, because it's not at the top of your profile. Okay, it's way down your profile, but it is one of the best pieces of social proof that you actually know what you're talking about
Hmm. Hmm.
that I ever could find.
I agree. One thing I'm going to shout out to LinkedIn that I wish they would do, and I almost think this used to be possible. I think you've been on LinkedIn longer than I, Jeff, but was it ever an option to rearrange the order of your recommendations? Seems to me
Yeah.
that you used to be able to do that, move them up or down. I wish they'd bring that back or initiate it, because, over time, when you're on LinkedIn for any length of time, there's certain recommendations that were specific to events that we've done, or speaking engagements I've had, or whatnot. And more than once I've thought, geez, I wish I could rearrange these, or have more than two show up at a time at
Oh,
the bottom.
yeah.
Everything is possible.
LinkedIn
Anything's
loves to show
possible.
nothing more than three things at once. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Like the skills section, same thing.
Well, to answer your question, I don't think that there was ever a way that you could rearrange your recommendations, because they are by by design in, like you said,
Chronological.
newest to oldest.
Yeah,
Okay. However, there was a way, and still is a way, if I'm not mistaken, that you can not display some of them.
right,
Okay. So
right.
you can turn them on or turn them off.
Hmm.
Now, what I wish LinkedIn would bring back, okay, is very much like what you just described. But what you used to be able to do was take sections of your profile and rearrange them.
Right.
So if I wanted to put my skills up there right next to my experience section, I could.
Hmm.
Okay, or even ahead of my experience section, I could. If I
Right.
wanted to put recommendations as the second thing that you would see on my profile, I used to be able to do that. That's not possible anymore. Okay. But you know
Right.
what? Here's another thing that, thank you for saying I've been on LinkedIn, for a long time. It's true. I am old, and I'm very old as far as LinkedIn is concerned, because I was actually one of the first million members of
Hmm.
LinkedIn.
Hmm.
But my point being is that from that perspective, here's one of the things that I've learned about LinkedIn. LinkedIn giveth, LinkedIn taketh away,
Oh, yes.
and sometimes LinkedIn giveth back. So
True.
don't despair. It might actually show up again.
As with that navigation bar we spoke about yesterday,
Okay.
black or
Yep.
white,
White,
it's
black,
like,
white,
come
black. Wait,
on.
yeah, wait a minute. One of these days it's going to be flashing? No, I don't think. I hope not. Okay.
Oh my goodness, this is great. So let me think. What other gems can we share with our audience today? What do you see moving forward? I'm just curious. Are there any options or features that you would like to see uh, down the road?
Yeah, there's one that I would really particularly like. I mean, it works now, but I think this would work better. This is another one of those things that was there and is now gone.
Uh-huh.
Okay. There was this old thing on LinkedIn that used to be called Signal. Okay. And Signal was something that was allowed you to pretty much tailor your homepage feed.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I could pick these kind of categories of things I want to see. What I would love for them to do is bring back a version of Signal that is not necessarily algorithm driven, but interest driven. Okay. So what I'd love to have them be able to allow us to do is, for my homepage feed, let's say, and I'm going to mention another product here. We might as well. I use Google Chrome all day long. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing called Google Alerts. Okay. What I'd love to have is like Google Alerts for LinkedIn. Okay.
Wow.
So that I could tell LinkedIn, here are three keywords, or more, more if I wanted more, up to whatever I want. Okay. But put down three keywords, and these keywords, when they show up in a post from my network, I want those to go to the top. Okay. And
Wow.
I want to be able to see them. That would be a great feature as far as I'm
I
concerned.
I really like that idea. That's terrific. Well, I could talk to you all day long. I'm really, really glad to have this opportunity. Hopefully, we've shared a few nuggets of wisdom with our audience, our networks out there. Thank you so much. I have one more question. So, you're in the north area. Are you into the colder climate yet, temperature
It's a
wise?
little chilly. It was in the 30s. It was about 33 this morning. So there was frost on the ground for us.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you
cold. That's
Florida,
cold. That's not
you,
chilly. That's
no,
cold.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know why I stay in this state. I've been in Ohio my entire life, and I really am not a big fan of cold weather.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah,
All
but
right.
yeah, at least, well, and the good news is at least you and I are in the same time zone. A lot of these Zoom sessions that I have are somebody who's like 15 time zones ahead of me. So,
You know what?
yes,
We make it work, and it's worth every second. And I'm just going to tell you, in West Palm Beach, Florida, right now, it's 81 and sunny. So come on down after COVID.
yeah, yeah, well, exactly. Not like I can hop a flight as easily as I used to be able
Oh
to.
my gosh. Listen,
Yes. So
this has been
please,
great. Yes.
thank you so much for
Namaste.
the
Yes.
opportunity. Namaste. Yes. I hope people do get a little bit of help out of this one. Anything that helps is all right with me. I love hearing, as a teacher, I love hearing the phrase, "Oh, I didn't know it could do that."
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Jeff. This has been great. And I'm going to look forward to doing this again really soon.
My
Wish you
pleasure.
well and be well, stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. You too. Happy World Kindness Day.
Thank you. You too.